The moving boxes appeared in my hallway without warning. I came home from a property inspection in Seattle to find my mother directing traffic in my penthouse apartment like a general commanding an invasion. "Those boxes go to the basement storage," Mom told my brother-in-law Kevin, who was carrying my office chair toward the elevator. "Riley won't need a home office down there anyway." "Down where?" I asked, setting my briefcase on the kitchen counter. "Oh good, you're home." Mom didn't look guilty. "We need to talk about new living arrangements. Your sister Jade is pregnant with twins, and this penthouse is perfect for her family. You'll be much cozier in the basement apartment." I looked around my 3,000 square foot penthouse with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Portland. The space I'd specifically designed when I'd converted this building from commercial to residential 4 years ago. "The basement apartment," I repeated slowly. "It's actually quite nice," Jade said, emerging from my bedroom with an armful of my clothes. "Kevin and I looked at it yesterday. A bit dark, but you're always traveling for work anyway." My work was managing 17 commercial and residential properties across 4 states, but my family had always described it as Riley's real estate hobby. "When did you look at the basement apartment?" "Yesterday. The building manager let us in. Said the current tenant is moving out next month. Perfect timing." The current tenant was moving because I'd approved his relocation request. As the owner, I made those decisions. But my family didn't know that. "And you decided I'm moving there?" "We decided as a family," Mom corrected. "At Sunday dinner. You were in Sacramento, but everyone agreed this makes sense. Jade needs space for the twins. You barely use this place." I barely used it because I'd been closing on my 18th property, but Kevin was literally walking past me with my desk lamp. "The penthouse lease is expensive," Dad added, joining us from the balcony. "We've been covering it for you, and the basement apartment is more appropriate for your career stage." The penthouse didn't have a lease. I owned it. I owned the entire 12-story building, Cascade Tower, which I'd purchased as a distressed commercial property. But I'd structured ownership through Summit Property Holdings, so my family had no idea. "How much do you think you've been paying?" I asked carefully. $4,000 a month, Mom said. "Which is generous, considering you never offered to contribute." I paid $0 because I owned it. They paid nothing because they didn't own it. But they'd convinced themselves they were financing my lifestyle. "The basement is only $1,200, Dad continued. "Much more reasonable." "Very considerate," I said. "That's what family does," Jade said, carrying more clothes toward the elevator. "We help each other. You don't need all this space. We have 2 babies coming." Kevin returned from the elevator. "Should I start on the bedroom furniture? I want you to put everything back where you found it." "Riley, don't be difficult," Mom said. "This transition will be smooth for everyone." "What transition?" "I never agreed to move." "You don't have to agree," Jade said patiently. "This is a family decision. The penthouse makes sense for us, the basement makes sense for you. Besides," Kevin added, "the building manager already approved our application. We're signing the lease next week." The building manager, Cheryl, was my employee. She'd approved nothing without my consent. "Did Cheryl mention who owns the building?" I asked. "Some investment company," Dad said. "Summit Property Holdings. They've agreed to transfer your lease to the basement and start a new one for Jade and Kevin up here. And you're comfortable making these decisions without asking me?" "We're asking now," Mom said. "You should be grateful. The basement is cheaper, closer to ground level, and honestly more suitable for a single woman living alone." "More suitable," I repeated. "The penthouse is for families. Real families with children. You're focused on career, which is fine, but you don't need luxury space for that." I pulled out my phone and opened the Summit Property Holdings management portal. "What are you doing?" Jade asked suspiciously. "Checking something for work." "Always working," she said to Mom. "You won't even miss the views, Riley." I looked at them every morning, but explaining would require explaining everything else. Hold up. Kevin emerged carrying my grandmother's quilt. "Where should I put family heirlooms?" "Back on my bed," I said firmly. "Riley, we're trying to help you pack," Mom said. "Don't make this harder." "I'm not making this hard. You're moving my belongings without permission." "We have permission," Jade insisted. "From the building manager and from common sense. I'm pregnant with twins. You're single with a traveling job. This is obviously right. Dad joined us from the balcony. I measured for patio furniture. We'll need custom cushions. Riley, did you want any balcony furniture for the basement? The basement doesn't have a balcony, Dad. Exactly. So you won't need it. My outdoor furniture cost $8,000. But they were already redistributing it. The nursery can go in the second bedroom, Jade was saying to Kevin. Sage green and cream. Very calming for babies. And my office takes the third bedroom, Kevin added. The views will impress clients. They were planning their lives in my apartment while I watched boxes accumulate. What if I say no? I asked. No to what? Mom looked confused. No to moving. No to you taking my apartment. Riley, this isn't about you saying yes or no. This is about family needs. Jade is pregnant. That supersedes your preferences. My preference is for where I live. Your preference is for luxury you can't afford, Dad corrected. Be honest, you've been living beyond your means. The basement is more appropriate for your income level. My income last year was $890,000 from property rentals and management contracts. But they decided I was barely scraping by. How much do you think I make? I asked. 30, maybe 40,000? Mom guessed. Real estate sales is tough. Real estate development and property management, I corrected. Different field. Still real estate, Jade dismissed. Point is, you can't afford this place. We're doing you a favor before you get evicted. Evicted, I repeated. It happens, Kevin said sympathetically. No shame in downsizing. I opened my phone and pulled up the building security system. At the top, penthouse level Riley Chin owner. What are you always looking at? Jade demanded. I'm trying to understand how you're all so confident about this plan. We're confident because the building management approved everything, Mom said. Cheryl confirmed it yesterday. Very nice woman. Cheryl, who'd worked for me for 3 years and knew exactly who owned every unit. Let me call Cheryl, I said. Just to confirm. I dialed her extension. Cascade Tower Management, this is Cheryl. Cheryl, it's Riley. I'm standing in my penthouse with my family. Can you explain what applications you approved? Her voice shifted to concerned. Miss Chin, I didn't approve anything. Your sister and her husband came asking about availability. I showed them the vacant basement apartment as you'd instructed. But I never said anything about the penthouse. So no lease transfer was approved. Absolutely not. The penthouse isn't available. You own it. Thank you, Cheryl. I hung up. My family stared at me. What did she say? Mom asked nervously. She said no lease transfer was approved. The penthouse isn't available. That's not what she told us yesterday, Jade insisted. She showed you an available apartment. You decided it was for me without asking. This is ridiculous, Jade snapped. Why are you being so selfish? I'm pregnant. And I live here. Those are two separate facts. Riley, think about your nieces or nephews, Mom pleaded. I want them to have a home their parents can actually rent or buy. This isn't that home. Why not? Dad demanded. Because you want luxury you can't afford? Because I own it. Revelation. The silence was absolute. Kevin froze with my grandmother's quilt in his arms. Jade's mouth opened but no sound came out. You own it, Dad finally repeated. You own what? The penthouse. This unit. I own it. That's not possible, Mom said. You're 29 years old. I bought this building 4 years ago. Cascade Tower. All 12 floors. Kevin laughed nervously. Buildings cost millions. This one cost $4.2 million. I bought it as a distressed commercial property and converted it to mixed use. Current value is approximately $8.7 million. You're lying, Jade said, but her voice shook. I pulled up the property deed on my phone. Summit Property Holdings, LC. Sole member, Riley Chin. Property address, Cascade Tower, all units and common areas. Summit Property Holdings is my company. I'm the sole owner. This building is mine. They crowded closer, squinting at the screen. That's a company name, Dad said. Not you. I am the company. Single member SE. I created it for liability protection. But I'm the only owner. The building manager, Mom started. Works for me. Cheryl is my employee. She manages day-to-day operations, but I own the building. I approve all leases, all decisions. Then why didn't you tell us? Jade demanded. Because I wanted to help quietly. Dad, you said I can't afford the penthouse? I don't pay rent. I live here free because I own it. How much do you make? Kevin asked. Last year? About $890,000, mostly from property rental income across 17 properties in 4 states. 17 properties, Mom whispered. 17. This building was my 5th major purchase. Where did you get the money to start? Dad asked. Saved $40,000 working through college, bought a distressed duplex, renovated both units, sold it for $115,000 profit. Built from there. And you never told us, Jade said, tears forming. I never said I was struggling. You assumed it. I just didn't correct you. Why not? Mom's voice broke. Because every time I mentioned a property success, you changed the subject. You wanted me to be struggling, so I let you believe it. That's not fair, Dad protested. Isn't it? Today you walked into my home and started moving my belongings to a basement without asking because you decided I couldn't afford to live here. Silence. You assumed I was failing because I wasn't loud about succeeding. And that assumption made it easy to decide I should give up my home for Jade. But I'm pregnant, Jade whispered. I know. Congratulations. But it doesn't entitle you to my property. You could give us this place, she said desperately. You own the whole building. But this is my home. I designed this space for myself. The kitchen layout, the office setup, the balcony furniture you were planning to take. I chose all of it. So we get nothing? Kevin asked bitterly. You get to rent the basement apartment at market rate if you want it. $1,200 a month, which is actually below market because I subsidize for family. Below market, Dad repeated. How long have we been your tenants? You're not tenants. But Dad, your office space on the 7th floor? You rent from Summit Property Holdings. That's me. His face went pale. My office rent, $200 a month. That goes to you? It goes to my company, which I've kept artificially low for you. Market rate for that space is $3,500. I've been paying my daughter rent for 3 years. You've been paying below market rent to a landlord who happens to be your daughter. Mom sat down heavily. I don't understand any of this. It's simple. I own valuable property. You assumed I own nothing. Today you tried to move me into a basement because you thought I was too poor to deserve better. But I own the basement. And the penthouse. And everything in between. I walked to my laptop and pulled up the building management portal on the large screen. The display showed all 12 floors, every unit, every tenant. Floor 8, Unit 8C? That's the Johnsons at $2,400 monthly. Floor 9, Unit 9A, the Patels at $2,600. Floor 7, the offices? Dad rents one. The other 3 generate $9,800 monthly. Total building income last year was $687,000. They stared at the screen like it was written in a foreign language. And you never thought to mention this? Mom asked. I mentioned it constantly. You never listened. Kevin started gathering boxes. We should go. Wait, Jade said. Riley, I'm sorry. We made a huge mistake. But please, we really do need help with housing. The twins are coming. I'll help, I interrupted. The basement apartment is yours at the subsidized rate, $1,200 monthly instead of $1,800. First month free because you're family. I'll even help with moving costs. The basement, she repeated dully. It's a 2-bedroom with updated appliances and good natural light. It's a nice apartment, Jade. You just thought it was beneath you when you believed it was for me. The truth landed hard. Resolution. They left slowly, carrying boxes back to my bedroom. Nobody met my eyes. Riley, Dad stopped at the door. The office rent. Should I start paying full market rate? No. Family discount stands. I was helping you, Dad. I'm still helping you. By secretly being my landlord. By keeping your overhead low so your business could survive. You're welcome, by the way. He left without another word. Mom was last. I don't know what to say. You could say you're sorry for trying to evict me from my own home. We didn't know it was yours. You didn't ask. There's a difference. She looked around the penthouse. It really is beautiful. You did all this yourself. Designed it, managed the renovation, chose every finish. 4 years of work. I wish we'd known to be proud of you. You can be proud of me now. Or you can keep assuming I'm failing. Your choice. After they left, I walked through my apartment, putting items back. The quilt on my bed. The lamp on my desk. The outdoor furniture they'd almost claimed. My phone buzzed. A text from Jade. I'm sorry. I got so focused on what I needed that I didn't see what you'd built. The basement apartment is generous. Thank you. I replied, you're welcome. Let me know if you need help moving in. Another text from Dad. Your mother and I would like to take you to dinner. Not to ask for anything. Just to know you better. The real you. I'd like that, I wrote back. I poured wine and walked onto my balcony, looking out over the city. 12 floors below, my building hummed with life. 17 tenants across different floors. Dad's office generating income he sent back to me without knowing. The basement apartment, soon to house my sister at a rate that helped them while protecting my investment. I'd built this quietly, carefully, one property at a time. And today I'd revealed it not because I wanted recognition, but because they'd tried to take it without asking. Tomorrow we'd figure out the new dynamic. They'd adjust to the truth that their struggling daughter was their landlord. But tonight I stood in my penthouse. My property, my design, my home, and felt the satisfaction of boundaries finally drawn. My phone buzzed. Building security alert. Elevator maintenance scheduled for tomorrow, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. I smiled and pulled up the building management portal. The elevators worked fine. But tomorrow, when my family returned to apologize, they could take the stairs. All 12 floors. Just a small reminder that assumptions have consequences. And that the quiet daughter they'd underestimated owned the ground they walked on. I raised my glass to the city lights. To property ownership. The best response to family presumption.